Hey guys, how's it going? Ghostly Rich here today, and today I got sent a new headlight for the bike. Again, I actually really like the factory Fat Bob kind of light bar that they give you, but a company reached out and says, hey, we realize that, if a bulb or something like that dies on this light, you're going to end up needing a new headlight. Like, it's not like you could just swap it out. You would actually have to replace the whole headlight. So we're starting to make aftermarket ones. And this one actually looked kind of neat. It's kind of like a Cyclops looking one, as you can see. It's got a centerpiece with a couple side lights, and it doesn't look bad. It does look different. First thing you need is a T40 Torx. Go ahead, put it on a driver, make sure it's on off, make sure it's a good fit. And just crack them both loose. I wouldn't completely pull them out yet, just do this. As you can see, it's quite a long screw. Let's see here. Once they're there, I don't want to have any screws in my hands when messing around with this gloss finish. Let's see if we can take this off. Just like that. From here, we can now see we have 3 T27s. So make sure, again, Torx T27. I would do the two side ones first. And again, making sure that you first make sure that's completely in there. Now, did you see how I held on to that light? The reason why is it's glass. Last thing you want is the glass light to fall down. From here, we have the light out. It's going to be really hard for me to show you how to disconnect this. All it is a lift tab. I'm going to lift it out and show you in a second. So you lift the tab with your fingers. It's waterproof. So let me put this light down. What you have to do is, this is the tab right here. You lift and slide out. Don't put too much leverage on here. You don't want to break the tab on here, because this is the only thing that holds it in. So again, lift it with your finger, not with any sort of driver, and slide it out. Some side-by-side comparisons just so you can see. Like I said, it's a much different design. I like them both. I don't hate one. I don't love one more than the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this metal bracketing system off. Next, with an 11 mil, just pull these two bolts out. You can also do it with an Allen key if you so wish, but I'm just going to do it with an 11 mil. A little bit of blue Loctite on these screws. I only suggest it because vibrations. And if you lose a headlight, it's like the worst thing you could possibly lose while riding, other than your wheels. Well, actually, there's a lot of things you don't want to lose. One thing I did is I put a little bit of marks on here, as you can see, and that was just in case this rotated, but it actually doesn't. It actually, these two little feet right on the bracket don't allow your headlight to rotate. It holds it in a certain position. So all you got to do is hold on to your light, slide this into said position, just like that. Make sure I'm catching that, perfect. And then grab our screws that we put our fresh Loctite on, and whatever you do, don't go impacting it in. Put it in with your fingers. And the reason why I say this is then you won't strip the nuts that are welded on there. Perfect, there we go. One is in. Get the next one in. Make sure it's going in straight. Yep, just like that. Alrighty. And we are half in. Put it on here. And perfect. I'm using a very low
impact, like I'm not using like one of my strong impacts, so I'm not too worried. If you want to, you could throw a torque spec on there. I wouldn't even know right now what to go off of. If I was gonna guess, it'd probably be 10 to 13 foot-pounds, no more than a spark plug. But now that we've got that, let's go ahead and bolt this in. Again, these 3 bolts, if you want, add a little bit of Loctite on them. Leave your plastic cover on, take your clip, again, just slide it together, just like that. Make sure that that seal is sitting perfect. And then what we do is you can bring this up into here, just like that. And then even along through one of the other sides. But what I want to do is have it so that clip sits just like that. I'd rather the clip itself sit behind here than on that side. So that way it kind of keeps these exposed wires hidden. Again, you don't have to do that. I'm just doing that because I don't want to have all this extra on the one side, and I'll make sure I'm not pinching it as I bolt it on. And just like that, huzzah, we're good. So I hold that right there. I have these already with the Loctite on them, and I just want to get them started. Make sure you have more than a couple threads in. That way we know it's not going to fall on us. Because if that falls, oh, well, putting your old headlight back in. Now that you've gone ahead and done that, you can go ahead and just double check that nothing is being pinched before we tighten anything down. Yeah, no, feels fine. Okay. Go ahead and line this one up. There we go. Okay, another one. All right, now that those are all ready to go ahead and put them to spec. Again, I would probably put these again to 10 to 13 foot-pounds. I'm just gonna drop them in quickly with my impact. Perfect. Now, check your wiring, make sure she still moves free. Yep, there is no pinching going on. Yep, no pinching, perfect. And again, that'll keep all that wound up without you having to tape it up and leave it over there by putting the clip on this side of the bar. And I'll even take a look, I might even put a slight little strap over on this side, a zip tie, so that way it holds that wire up and out of the way. From this point though, we can put our black cover back on, but from this point, let's take a look and see how this thing operates before I even go farther. So from this point, let's power it up. Well, look at that, that looks different. I actually don't mind that. That's still a lot of light up front. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's high beam. Wow, that's very full. I actually don't mind the look of that. When I was looking at it in the package, I was like, oh, am I really gonna like this? And then after looking at it on the bike, that just looks cool. If you're going and installing a new headlight and you fire it up and you notice that moisture starts building up in it and you're like, great, I just spent like, you know, $200-300 on this. You can go ahead, you should be able to wiggle this off, or you might have to use a pair of pliers. But this little plug in here,
let's see if I can get it off. Probably. Anyways, you would pop off the cap. This is a complete air hole under this light. You would then turn your motorcycle, not start it, but turn it on so the light can be operational. Flick the light on. The heat of the LED will clear up the condensation in about an hour. After it does and all the condensation has been cleared up, go ahead without turning the light off and squish this back on. What that will do is now dry up the light, reseal it, and from there you would turn the bike off. Big thing though, if you do that, I highly suggest that you go ahead and put your bike on a battery charger or a trickle charger, because leaving your bike on for a long time like that without anything recharging the battery is going to end up causing your bike battery to fail. Anyways, there you go. With these little black rubbers, make sure you pull them out and you slide that sheath off. So what I ended up doing to make this process a little easier is I actually took a pair of pliers and pulled these little plastic pieces out. You also do it with a flat blade. You stick the flat blade in, move it to the side, slide it out. We're up here and you can get them out. Once you have those little black pieces out, it's pretty easy. All you gotta do is take these guys, bring them up, and slide them up and in. I just gotta bring this down. In the end, I ended up modifying this bracket just to give it a try. I put it all back in, tried to maneuver this around, and it still just barely didn't fit. The only other thing I could think about doing, which I'm not gonna bother, is you could try cutting out this metal piece right here. So that way you could just get just a tiny bit more out. But what I really noticed is it's right here. This piece just does not fit in the black sheath properly. So you would have to modify either this part or your metal shroud corner right here so it would slide in. And like I said, I don't want to mess up any of the aesthetic parts of this bike. So what I'm going to end up doing is just swapping this bracket back to my old light, and I'm going to slip that in. Just to show you, all you do is you put these two black pieces in. And again, I've gone back to the factory light, as you can see. And all you do is line up the two little black pieces up there. Now there's this tooth right here. It has to go over the black metal bracket. So that's why you have to hold it kind of like on an angle, just like this. And then sink it up and make sure it stays up and above there as you swoop it in. There you go. So as you can see, it's kind of a swooping action. It goes in like that, and look at that. She just goes in that easy. With that aftermarket light, it was like, without the bracket modification, you could not get it in. And then even after the bracket modification, it had to sit like way out here because of how far that light protruded. I really didn't like the look of it, so in the end, this turned out to be the way better option, because now you can position this just like that. Put in these last two bolts right here and right there. And again, just make sure they always go in by hand first. There we go. Now that we've got that there, grab this guy and put it in. Again, this is your T40. Again, leave it up to you. I put those other bolts to about 10 foot-pounds, as I said. These ones, if you really wanted to, I'd go at least 15. It goes right, it's threaded right through the bar, so I'm not too worried. So that's 15. That's 15. I wouldn't be worried about going any more than that. After that, go ahead, clean up your area up here. As you can see, I put lots of fingerprints on it. So yeah, just give your bike a nice wipe down. And of course, one more last check just to make sure. And just like that. Yep. Looks great to me. Well guys, thanks again for watching. Hope this helped you swap your light out. And to Loyo here with this headlight, it's a really nice design. I do like it. I tried to modify the bracket, tried to make it work, but unfortunately, since this headlight is still my favorite headlight, for me to go ahead and get this one to fit, and I didn't want to modify this black piece here, which I couldn't see any way other than spacing out your shroud right here out a little bit for it to work. I really hope you guys figure it out, so that way maybe it's the protrusion, maybe you can switch these lights so the housing can get sunk in a little bit, but just for anyone that's buying aftermarket lights, they have their schematics online. Just make sure that you buy one that's still just as low as protrusion as the factory light if you don't want to modify anything, because unfortunately, if you buy one like this that protrudes this far, you're gonna have to modify some things.